to tell us what to do. Where you guys are the team, you are the ones that can come up with all these really cool ideas that we can put in place for this student. So I'm not going to make us go through and do every single thing, but I want you to see the richness of having one person read. But think about this. This is what's key. You have the parents in there too, tallying. So you give them the blanks to help tally. When parents understand what's feeding the behavior, it really helps them not feed the behavior at home, because we know that if somebody's still paying off and giving them the adult attention or giving them the escape or giving them the access to preferred material, whatever it is, that it makes it harder for us at school when somebody's paying off in another area, or if one teacher lets them get away with this but everybody else doesn't, then that makes it take that much longer for a behavior plan to start working. So getting everybody on the same page at the same time is just such a benefit of going through this together. So each one of these, I'm going to show you the answers up here and then give you a few minutes to talk about it and copy the answers down. And then when we get to the last two, I'm going to have you tally again, because there's something different that I do that you wouldn't think to do, but it's really helpful. So here's time of day answers so you can check your work. So you can see all the blue ones are passing periods. So this first one, and then this is history of state. Sorry, that should be. And then this is reading. And then 3 of these showed up under reading, but they were really in the hallway on the way to the bus from 3:31 to 3:35. So take 3 away from that, really. But so 8. So it's reading and history of state, which, if you think about it, history of state is basically reading, especially the way his teacher was doing it. So what do we now know this kid doesn't like? Reading. All right, the next thing we look at is day of the week. And so what we do is we count how many behaviors happen the first Monday and the second Monday, the first Tuesday and the second, and so on, and then we add those together and divide by 2. If there was a huge discrepancy, I would have taken data on a third day, but 7 and 4, even though it is quite a bit apart, it still shows us that Monday is his most difficult day. Getting back in the, how many of you know kids who have trouble with Mondays? How many of you know adults? That was my next question. So we have adults who are having trouble transitioning back from the weekend, and we have kids who are having trouble transitioning back from the weekend. And so we have lots of behaviors show up that day. We aren't on our best, and kids aren't on their best because we're transitioning. See, we should have a half day on Monday, maybe that would help. I don't think that's ever going to happen, so don't get excited. All right, so this is good information, only if you think day of the week is an issue. So you wouldn't do this for every kid. For Richie, we thought it kind of played into it, and it seemed to be a little bit high on Monday. It's not a lot higher than the other days, but it does let us know that we need to be proactive on Monday morning. On Monday morning, Richie needs to go check in with somebody. Who does he like? Mr. Quinn. He needs to go check in with Mr. Quinn on Monday. Very good point. She said, just in case you couldn't hear, think about the Friday before, was it a 3-day weekend? And so he was off. Now this is not a kid that goes without eating on the weekends, but for some of our kids, if they have a long weekend, these snow days, and they didn't get to eat good nutritious food, maybe they had cold hot dogs out of the refrigerator because that was all they could get. We're going to have a lot of behaviors after kids have been out of school for a couple of days like that. So yeah, good point. And actually, you're the first person to ever mention that, so thank you. All right, the next thing we look at is context. What context is pairing up? And the way you would do this is the reader would read, they'd put their finger in the column and read A, C, I, A, or whatever the letters are. I'm just going to give you the answers up here. I'll move away so you can copy it. And then we'll talk about it. We already kind of knew this. Interestingly, he had 3 behaviors on the way to the bus in the hallway. 3 of these were on the way to the bus, but no behaviors on the bus. Okay? This one was kind of a given. The next thing I look at is, what's his MO? My sister's a detective, and she's always talking about the MO of the perp. You know how sisters have contests about whose job's tougher. So I said, well, I do MO too. I just do MO of Little Bo Peep. So what's he most likely to use? And so what we found was verbal outburst, he used 11 out of 41 times. Verbal aggression, he used 19 out of 41 times. And physical aggression, he used 11 out of 41 times. So what's his biggest, what's he most likely going to go to? Verbal aggression. So we now know that. And you read in there what the definition of verbal aggression was, that he was trying to stir things up. So the next thing we look at is antecedents. Did everybody get that? I didn't go too fast on that one. Okay, so on antecedents, 19 out of 41 times, or 46% of the time when there's a transition, Richie has a behavior. How many of you know kids like that? We took data at the alternative school that I work at. We actually used Swiss, and what we found was that all the kids at the alternative school tended to have an aggressive behavior within 5 minutes of coming back from a high energy area. So from going down to the lunchroom or breakfast and coming back, class changing period, coming back, PE or rec time, coming back, and within 5 minutes the physical aggression occurred. So we decided to try an experiment. We knew how many our baseline was for the whole school. And so one of the things that I wanted to try was, we know fluorescent lights tend to set off behaviors. So we killed all the fluorescent lights, and every classroom teacher has a lamp with a 60-watt bulb on their desk. So all the teachers turned out overhead lights, turned on the 60-watt bulb. They played 60 beats per minute music, because 60 beats per minute is your resting heart rate, to kind of calm the kids. And then they put a thought-provoking question on the board. Within 1 month, we had decreased aggressive behaviors by everybody but 2 kids. So in the whole school, 2 kids still had behaviors, but we were able to take care of all the rest of the kids by decreasing. Now, they still had aggressive behaviors every once in a while, you know, altercations that happened in rec and stuff like that. But during that 5-minute time, turning out the lights, just playing soft 60 beats per minute music, and having a thought-provoking question. And we did that for 3 minutes. Just that transition, that come in, get yourself cool, calm, and collected. You know, just any little thing like that. And then when the teacher flipped on the lights, the kids knew it was an every pupil response. So that was the signal. So here we've got a kid who transitions are an issue. Whenever something's a new task, 9 out of 41 times, or 22%, that's the second biggest. And the third biggest was quiet work time. And we know lots of kids who, when it's quiet, think they should be talking. 7 out of 41 or 17%. So those are the three biggies. Does that give you some ideas right now of things that you might do proactively with this kid? Do you already have some ideas? Isn't it kind of cool to see it this way? Now the next one we look at, you guys get to do, because this one's kind of fun, and I don't think a lot of people think to do this. Here's how this works. Readers, you're going to take 2 fingers. You're going to put one in the antecedent column and one in the behavior column, and you're going to read it this way to the recorder, the people who are listening. So I have an A with a B. Recorders, you're going to go to the A row, the B column, and make 1 tally. Then you'll say, I have a D with a C. You go to the D row, C column, and make, a D with a C, which doesn't match. I didn't do a D with a C. There's supposed to be 2 Ds with Cs. I think I just put some. Let me do it for you. A D with a C. Oh, no, I didn't mean that. You guys already have figured out what to do, so don't. Maybe I didn't grab the first page. Yeah, I did. Where's the data sheets?
No. So you have to, whatever letter it is, you look it up. Right here. So the first letter I say, it'll be a U here. Okay. Sign this here. And then the second letter. Oh, okay. So you see A with a B.
Oh, I was reading the last. That's why it didn't match. An A with a B. A with a B. Make a tally right there.
Go through this again.
Uh-huh. I was reading the wrong page. That's why it didn't match. Make a tally there. I was reading the last page instead of the first page. That's why it didn't match. I take 1,000 milligrams. Is there anybody still reading letters? Raise your hand if you are. Okay. I'm not moving as fast as I would like to move today. I know. Anybody still reading? Okay, can I have your attention up here for a second? Sorry. How many of you, when you ask somebody how often does the behavior happen, they say all day, every day? How many of you have heard that? No antecedent, no pattern. This proves there is an antecedent and a pattern to almost every behavior. When you do this, we know what's going to show up and when it's going to show up. We know that when there's a transition, 17 times during transition, Richie had a verbal aggression. If we know what and when, what can we be? Proactive. We can put a plan in place. But when somebody says every day, all day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it's really hard to come up with a plan. And that's one of the things that will help sell this. I can't come up with a plan when you tell me it happens all day, every day, but I can't come up with a plan. If you can, quote, kill yourself for a couple days to give me the data that I need so I can help you do this. So 7 times when there was a new task, that's when the physical aggression showed up. How many of you know lots of kids do that? They know. Behavior's learned and it serves a specific purpose. If I get up and slug somebody, where am I going to get sent? To the office. I won't have to do this new task. That seems kind of scary to me. 2 times it showed up when he was just waiting. 5 times verbal outbursts during quiet work time. Twice. So really, this one and this one are the 2 I really want to focus on the most. The verbal outbursts are really showing up during the quiet work time, and the verbal aggression is showing up during transition. This is the one I really want to focus on with the kids. Now the last thing we do is just the same, only take the consequence and pair it with the behavior. Now I know lots of people have paired the antecedent with the behavior, but I'm just going to give you the answers in the interest of time to show you the consequence paired with behavior. And so I'll let you copy this and then we'll talk about it. I'll tell you what, we'll talk about it after lunch. Potato bar. We'll be back at 1 o'clock. So be back in the room at 1 o'clock if you leave and walk around. And then I'm going to show you, wasn't this easy to do it this way? Then I'm going to make it even easier when you come back from lunch. So don't skip out and keep on going at lunchtime. Come back or you won't get the easier part. And then I'm going to show you some other things